All right, you guys are about to learn how to make the most amazing, gelatinous, most flavorful, healing bone broth that you have ever had. Stick around because this is definitely a broth you want in your diet. So first off, if you are going to be making pho, the first thing you're going to do is you are going to get a massive piece of ginger and an onion. We're going to slice the ginger in half and slice up the onion. Now, I am keeping the skin on this onion because this is an organic onion from the farmer's market. There are tons of nutrients and healing properties in the skin of onions. So only use the skin if it's organic, if you know who you're getting the onion from. So I'm going ahead and I am grilling the onion and the ginger, and this particular recipe we're working on right now is for our pho. So with a lot of traditional Vietnamese pho, I have studied that they like to grill the onion and the garlic.
Within a week or two, and then do more.
Now here are my bones. I got the beef bones from my local farmer. His stuff is so expensive, but it's so amazing. I also got the oxtail from him. And then the ones in the packages I actually got from the international supermarket. So here I have some beef neck bones, some knee, some shank knee, and some ox feet. Now the ox feet and the oxtail are the ones that are so gelatinous, and these are really going to help give your broth all of that good gelatin. So now I'm just chopping up my oxtail, and like I said, if you have autoimmune issues, IBS, eczema, anything like that, broth is going to be so very gentle for you and so healing. If you have eczema, if you have psoriasis, if you have colitis, this is very gentle and very healing. If you have any sort of rheumatic issues like rheumatoid arthritis or avascular necrosis, broth is going to be your best friend. So I'm just splitting up all the bones. The big pot is mine. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are just going to clean the bones. We want to get any impurities out. So in both of them, I've got some water, and then I'm just adding in a hint of apple cider vinegar. And as the water is boiling, we're going to start to see all those impurities come out. So I'm just going to start to scoop off the impurities of the broth. The big pot is mine, and the small one is my husband's. So after about 15 minutes of them boiling, there you can see all the nasties that came off of the broth. So it's really important to clean your bones first, or that gunk will be in your soup. So we're going to go ahead and dump off the water, and we are going to clean these thoroughly. And don't worry, the beefy flavor is still going to be there. I heard one lady was saying that her Asian mommy's always like, don't cook them too long. I don't want any of my beef flavor leaving. Don't worry, the beef flavor is not going to leave. So after we do that first initial boil, we're going to go through and we're just going to wash off the bones in cold water. Make sure any of that gunk is off. So one of the things that I have learned is that boiling water does not get rid of impurities. It only concentrates the toxins more. So we are using a Berkey water filter system. I'm putting my ginger and my grilled onions in the big pot. The big pot is going to be the pho. Now this is the pack of seasonings that I got from the international market, and this is what is going to give your pho that traditional flavor. Now you do not need to keep buying this package. What you can do, I just wanted to show you, this is the package you get from the international market. It comes with a tea bag, some sort of cloth bag, and I wanted to just show you that the herbs that come in it are coriander, which you can see there are the bigger golden balls, fennel, which is the green one, star anise, which is the ones that look like a star. The one I'm crushing here is black cardamom. And then what else? We have cloves. Yes, so coriander, fennel, star anise, cloves, black cardamom, and cinnamon. So those are the seasonings that go in traditional pho. So what you can do is you can buy the package once, you can measure how much of each seasoning there is, and then you can just keep these herbs on hand, which I have all of these on hand. These are all very, very good for digestion, very good for regulating blood sugar with the cinnamon. So many benefits for all of those herbs, which I already have on hand. So then I'm just adding some salt. I added those herbs to the tea bag, and then I'm putting them in the pot. Now, for the one for my husband, which is our plain bone broth, I'm just putting in some onions, and I also chopped up 2 big bulbs of garlic. Now, one thing I also wanted to let you know is that in traditional Vietnamese pho, they also add rock sugar, but I don't really need to have that, so you can add in rock sugar, and I will add in a little picture of that here on the screen so you can see what it looks like. So I put my pho on low, and you can just let this cook for 2 days. Mine did go for 2 days on low, and as it's simmering, I just pull all the fat off the top. You don't want fat in your pho. You want a nice clean broth. So we're just scooping off the fat. And in another video, I can show you guys how I use the fat to make lotion. Usually I render beef fat for that. So here's the first day. This is my pho after simmering it for just about 4 or 5 hours. You can see that the color is not very rich, but I was very hungry. I kept it on the stove, and so I had it for dinner. I was like I can't remember if I was in my follicular phase or my luteal phase, but I am just sipping on the pho. This was, like I said, about 4 to 5 hours after having it. I'm having it with an egg, and the oxtail were done. The oxtail were still coming off the bone pretty wonderful, as you can see there. So the pho just stayed on top of the oven, and I let it keep going and going. So it's the next morning at 11 a.m. and here is our broth. Look how much more concentrated it is. It's very concentrated. Look at that gorgeous color. It's got that deep brown. As before, it was still very light, but now, as you see, as it's simmered, it's just gotten more and more concentrated. It's so beautiful. So I had some leftover sirloin steak in the freezer, and so the best way to do it is to cut the meat while it's frozen. You can also make some Chinese meatballs that have a really nice flavor. So I'm just cutting up some pieces of steak. And then here are the traditional noodles. I love this brand. These are very thin, very good. You just boil some water, stick the noodles in there for like 2 or 3 minutes. They get nice and soft. Add them to your bowl, and then you can go ahead, and then you guys can see there's my garnish. I go ahead and I add the steak to my little, I don't even know what they call that thing, but I add it to that. And then you just kind of gently cook it in the broth. I'm adding the broth into my pho. You can pick the fat out if you like. I didn't. And this is the controversial part. A lot of Vietnamese people say, add the fish sauce to the big pot. But a lot of people say, don't do it. It makes it get bitter. So I add my fish sauce in the end, just a few drops. And then I'm adding in some sprouts, some cilantro, some jalapeno, and some chopped up onion. And there you have some traditional pho. Like I said, you can add in meatballs, you can do shrimp, you can do a wide variety of garnish on this soup. I have done meatballs before, but I don't need a lot of meat. The meat for me that's on the oxtail and then the little bit of steak is perfectly fine for me. And then here is the broth that is plain that I made for my husband. And this is the broth that you want to keep on hand at home. I think so many people rely on grocery store broth, and those broths have so much MSG in them and preservatives and things that your body does not know how to process. So this is a plain broth. It has the same cuts. The only difference that I made was it's got onion and garlic, which just gives it a nice flavor. And you can see my husband is actually cooking up something. I don't even remember what he was making, but he was making something, and he's like, oh, let me use some of that broth. So this is so great because you can just have this broth for yourself that's just plain.
Oh, that looks excellent.
How much do you want?
Take one spoonful.
So the next morning, this was my pho broth. Look how gelatinous that is. Talk about Korean glass skin, friends. This is how you achieve that Korean glass skin, by having gelatinous bone broth from the oxtail, the ox feet, the marrow. The marrow is so healing. It's got that fat inside. Like I said, there's a little bit of fat in there, which is fine. I don't mind it. I like a little bit of fat. You can take it out. And then I was kind of just bragging a little, showing showing you guys my nails, I'm not wearing any nail polish. These are my nails from having cultured dairy and prioritizing broth. My nails grow like crazy and they have a really nice natural shine to them. So as a lady, even if you're just trying to have more vanity, broth is your best friend. There is no need to start buying all these things that they tell you that are topical, that work. Healing comes from the inside out. So look at that. We put our spoon in there and oh, it's so jelly. It's so rich, so delicious. And then here, I love this little kitchen gadget. So this is the plain broth that I made for my husband. What I like to do is I go in and I put the broth in this super cube, which I love this thing because it has measurements. You see it says half a cup, 1 cup. And then you just put the broth in it, put it in the freezer. And whenever you have a recipe, all you gotta do is just grab one of the cubes. And this is so great because you don't have to buy store-bought broth anymore. You can use your own. You know what it has in it. It's got health benefits. It's got all the things that you need, the amino acids. It's got the healing components for your joints, for your hair, for your skin, for your nails. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, you can warm some of this up. Add a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of collagen peptides, and it's gonna help you sleep better at night. And you can see my husband had another recipe and he's like, I need broth. So this broth is amazing. Let me know what you guys think of the pho. Let me know what you think of the bone broth. And let me know if you're noticing any health benefits. It's really amazing stuff. And don't forget to head to sisterfrennn.com to get my grocery guide and my Rebirth the Ancestral Way. I hope you guys enjoy this.